Shelley Colliver. I am the wife of the late Peter Colliver. We were married for just short of 25 years, and I met him in Kamloops, of all places. He was over here to do some wood chopping, and I was helping out with a girlfriend, and we were at the Interior Logging Convention, Truck Loggers Convention, and Pete was asked to do a demonstration there, so he was out there trimming up some wood, and I saw those baby blue eyes and said that to my girlfriends, I said, you guys keep your hands off, he's mine. We mainly made our home here in Canada, but we did go back to Australia for a bit. For 2.5 years, we traveled over to Australia and just stayed there by his family and thought we were moving there permanently, so we loaded up everything on a ship and went over for 2.5 years. It was a great 2.5 years, but ultimately we decided to come back to Canada and for different reasons, and made our home back here in Chase. Oh, Pete was incredible as a husband and a father. I mean, as a husband, he did everything around the house. He stopped at, he washed the floor, he did the laundry, he did the toilets even. I mean, he was great. He pitched in. He took pride in the yard, and that was his baby. Sort of the house was my baby. If he was home and I was at work, he did it. Or if he was on breakup, he did it. You know, he just didn't hesitate to pitch in. I mean, he made meals all the time. Sometimes they were scary meals because he used everything in the fridge. You didn't want to really look at what you were eating, but it tasted good. My mom always said, you know, you had to close your eyes to eat his meals because you never knew what kind of concoction he was going to come up with. But I'd come home from lunch, and a specific day in mind, I'd come home often for lunch because I only had a half hour for lunch. But he was off that day, and I walked into the house, and one of his throwing acts was sitting at the front door. And I thought, what the heck? Like, it's all his stuff is up bed. It wasn't the season, and I thought, what's this doing in the house? And I get into the kitchen, and here he is, the true lumberjack that he was, and he was dressed from head to toe in his lumberjack outfit with his navy blue toque rolled up, and his plaid shirt, and his suspenders, and his chaps, and he's at the stove stirring my soup. The only thing is that he had nothing on for his chainsawing chap. His bare bum was sticking out. Well, I mean, that was so typical of him. Of course, I got a great picture of it, managed to get a great picture of it, but it was so typical of him, you know.
Hi, my name is Colliver, the son of Peter Colliver. My father, pretty much the best father anyone could ask for. Always supported me in my sports, my school, just everything I had growing up as a kid. Sports, like my hockey, he was always selling 50-50 or volunteering somehow, chopping wood. He always loved doing that, and he'd, somebody didn't buy a 50-50, he'd always call him a cheap bastard and called him out on it. And I think he
had the most 50-50 sales.
Yeah, he always did pretty good with that too. And I'd get home from school some days, and if I wasn't working on the house, he'd have me outside training, or be telling me to get out and go for a run for hockey or logger sports, whatever the sport was. He was always pushing me to be better, and just hunting. We had a few, I think it was only one season, but we had two days that season. We went out before school, and both times, first time we went out, saw 2 bucks up the bank. I was a bit too short then, and so he blasted the first buck. We drug it down the bank and loaded it in the truck, and he had me at school 5 minutes before the bell rang, and smelling like buck and all kinds of nasty stuff. And 2 days later, went back up to that spot again, and we saw that other buck, and I was a little bit further down the bank that time, so I was able to see it. I blasted that one, and same back to school 5 minutes before the bell rang, and
Would have been in trouble otherwise.
I think always, well, not always, but a few times he'd be rushing for time just to get that last hunt in, and Mama wasn't always too happy about it, but there's lots of good memories like those ones, and yeah, he was a great mentor, and I looked up to him a lot, still do.
Pete was involved in logger sports from a young age. His dad was an avid competitor in Australia, and he traveled around every weekend to all the shows, as we did once we got married and when Brock was a little guy. However, he wasn't allowed to compete himself until he was 18 years old. His dad really had a thing about him being ready to be in the sport. He came over to Canada in his early 20s to start doing the circuit here, and he was always a great sport. As the years went by, he was always there for youngsters that were coming up in the sport. He was willing to show whatever needed to be taught to these kids, to how to be the best in the sport, how to be the safest in the sport, how to be a good sport.
Not even youngsters, anybody really.
Anybody that needed it. And he was willing to share his knowledge. He was always willing to share his equipment, whether it be his best and most expensive equipment. It didn't matter. He wanted others to do well in the sport. I think that's partly why people, looked up to him, because of his sportsmanship and his all-round ability just to make everybody laugh and enjoy the weekend. His favorite event was the underhand. He did well at the underhand. He was one of the best there was, and
still has a world record in Squamish.
He does still hold a world record in Squamish, yes. He just motored through that wood like he would eat it.
My dad was a great competitor all through the years that he competed. He raised me, I think by the age of 3, I had an axe in my hand, and we had a little springboard in our backyard down by the lake. And my first competition, I probably would have been 15 in Kamloops. And yeah, he always pushed me to train, and whole family would go to shows every weekend almost in the summertime. My friends would be out camping, and I'd be going to logger shows, missing out on the fun time with my friends, but I was having fun time with my family, and that meant a lot more to me. And he just he was a great help and teacher to the sport in Canada. And so this year I'm competing in the STIHL Series as in the rookie division for him, and just hope to make him proud.
The STIHL Timbersports Peter Colliver Memorial Trophy is an incredible tribute. The trophy itself is beautiful. It just encompasses every aspect and discipline of the STIHL Timbersports, and to have his name put on that trophy is emotional, and it's just an honor. He would have been very, very proud to carry this as a legacy. He just represented the sport so well, and to have the Canadian champion carry this through the years just keeps his name alive in the sport, and for that I'm thankful, and it just means a lot.
It's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah. Logger sports and us, we were his life.
We were his life, and it was his life. Like the three of us, as him and family and logger sports, all went hand in hand. And as everybody knows, as our friends know, that was his life, and he was very, very proud of it. So to keep this and his memory alive with the STIHL Timbersports is just it's incredible. It's an incredible honor. This weekend, we're very pleased to be hosting the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Western Qualifier and Canadian Championship here in Chase, Peter's hometown. And it'll be interesting to see who will be taking away this beautiful TimberSports Peter Colliver Memorial Trophy for the first time ever, whose name will be attached to it. And we look forward to the competition, and we wish all the athletes the best of luck and hope everybody has a really great weekend.